When I got into training, I was kind of taking bits of advice from magazines, looking online about how to get the best out your shoulders, and I was always kind of been told that my front delts would get worked when I was doing chest, that my rear delts get worked when I was doing back. So for years and years and years, I had just basically neglected my shoulders, had seen my back grow, had seen my chest grow, but just seen that my shoulders were a weak point. Now naturally they are a weak point for me anyway, but the fact that I wasn't specifically actually training them, I saw a kind of weak link in my training regime. So I decided for the last couple of years to focus on bringing my shoulders up. And today we're going to go through a couple of the workouts that I found massively effective to really develop and really bring my front delts, rear delts and side delts up to the point that they are now in proportion with my physique. So when I looked at kind of training my shoulders, one of the biggest parts that I found was most impressive in a physique was having that roundness to the shoulders. And I found that doing lateral or side raises with dumbbells was massively effective. The difference I kind of found in myself was when I was doing that standing, I was probably using a lot more momentum. I wasn't seeing as much progress as I would like to. So we're going to do this today isolated, and I found that there was less movement, there was more of the shoulder that had to do the work, there was more activation. I felt like I was getting far more out of the exercise and far more development. So we're going to run through that just now. So at a 45-degree angle or slightly more, the angle itself is just to ensure that we're not getting that momentum. It's going to isolate that shoulder. Lying on your side, and we're going to bring that shoulder up and not resting, so keeping the tension on the shoulder at all times. And up. 1, 2, 3, 4. So for me personally, rather than standing, creating that momentum or trying to kind of cheat those reps, I found that keeping that form strict, I felt that I kept more of the tension, more of the weight on the shoulder, and I got far more development, far more engagement from that muscle group, that mind-muscle connection, and it's really made a difference to how my shoulders have developed over the last probably 3 or 4 years now since implementing that exercise into my training regime. I always like to kind of start a lot of my workouts with more of an isolation exercise like that lateral raise. Then we're going to now go into that big compound movement, and we're going to do dumbbell shoulder press. It's one of the kind of key foundations, and for myself, I found that potentially when I was doing a lot more bar work, initially I was getting a lot of problems with my shoulders, whereas the dumbbells, I'm finding that I'm not getting as much problems with my shoulders. So by the time I get this out of the way, I can throw in that barbell work later on in the workout, and I'm not getting as many issues in terms of my shoulders. So we're going to drive up. 1, 2, making sure back's nice and straight. We're going to drive up. And 1, 2, 3. And again, same as when I was focusing on the lateral raises, I'm trying to make sure that I keep the tension of that weight on the shoulder at all times, and I'm not fully extending my arms at the top, and I'm making sure that that weight, I can really feel it. I'm getting that good mind-muscle connection, and that's going to ensure that the muscle is actually getting stressed and that we're causing that damage. It's going to then create that stimulus for new growth. So that's us now hit the lateral raise for the side delt, the dumbbell press for the front delt. We're now going to go on to the cables for the rear delts, all right?
My mind, listen to the signs, mission of precision, I give vision to the blind. Busy on my line, cause I'm busy on my grind. It could get freaky like Missy when I rhyme. You piss poor hopeless to get more focused than me. Got a Zoe Kravitz, I'm as cold as me.
So the one thing I love about the cables is it's going to keep that tension on the shoulders at all times. This is a simple cable attachment. We're looking at making sure that your shoulders stay in level with your kind of shoulder height. Arms stay straight the full time. All the way in, big squeeze. 1, 2,
Back from the properties, yeah.
3.
When the sun go down, when the sun go down, yeah. When the sun go down, that's when the beasts come alive in the nighttime. When the sun go down, when the sun go down, yeah. When the sun go down, that's when the beasts come alive in the nighttime. This is not a guessing game, this is well prepped, well set, and they ain't made me afraid to fail yet. Mile 12.
And like most of the exercises that I will be doing, guys, with all my workouts, it is focused on the technique. We are focused on making sure that the muscle has tension on it, and we are focusing on progressive overload. So we are trying to lift as much weight as possible for as many reps as possible, while still focusing on the technique and focusing on the muscle actually having the tension on it and not just going for momentum. So that's us finished with rear delts. We're going to move back onto the side delt again. We're going to be using the cables, with the main fact the cable is going to keep that tension on the shoulder at all times. We're going to try to isolate the movement as much as possible to keep that stress in the shoulder. So going to be focused on bringing my feet in, arm on the cable, relaxing that full body, and out. 1, 2. And again, by leaning over, that's going to take all that momentum out of the movement, which is really going to get that lateral head to engage, to activate, and you're really going to feel that. So again, just like all the other exercises, I will always start lighter and I will progress that weight every set. It just gives my body a chance to get that blood flow, to get that range of motion before I do that last 1 or 2 sets, where the weight is probably the most challenging. It's when I'm most fatigued and it's when I really need to get the most out of the exercise. So we're jumping up again. Okay. There you go. And 1, 2, 3. Again, guys, I can really feel that as each rep goes on, I can feel that pump, I can feel the muscle starting to swell, and all of that is going to give your body that environment, or that stress, that overall stress, to grow once that workout is done. Okay guys, now that we have finished that barbell shoulder press, which is to hit the front of the shoulder, we're now moving back onto the rear delts. So we're going to grab some dumbbells on the incline bench. Again, a lot of the exercises that I have found massively effective for myself has basically isolated a lot of the movement so that I can't use a lot of momentum. Forces the shoulders to work that wee bit harder, and so I'm getting far more benefit from it. So we're going to do dumbbell reverse flies, and we're going to do that on the dumbbell or on the incline bench. Okay. And again, like all the exercises that I do, you should be aiming to feel the muscle doing the actual exercise. So if you're not feeling it in your shoulders, reassess that technique. For me, when I'm leaning down on the bench, before you even start, engage those shoulders. So pull shoulders back and then engage the movement. Just means that you're going to get those rear delts to fire rather than having your shoulders forward and relaxed.